Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and it's another episode of a Game of Throws, this time a Tier 8 ranked battle here on the Neighbours map, featuring none other than the guy I like to listen to because the sound of his voice just makes my brain release happy chemicals. This is none other than Stats Bloke. Stats is sailing the Almirante Grau. This is not a ship that he plays very often. In fact, he'd forgotten he even had it until he decided, you know what, let's play ranked, and picked this for Tier 8 ranked battle. This is a Pan-American light cruiser armed with 8 152mm guns in 4 double turrets. It does, of course, have a gimmick, because of course it does. This thing, immediate main battery reload. How this works is the longer you remain undetected, this thing charges up, and then once it reaches a full charge, you get to unleash the Dakar. Don't worry if that's not completely clear, you're not going to have to wait too long for Stats to demonstrate. So, the ship that he's sailing, the Almirante Grau, this is a Pan-American light cruiser, Tier 8, although it started life as a Dutch cruiser, the De Ruyter. But the Peruvian Navy bought it in 1973, and it served as the Peruvian Navy's flagship for 45 years. Yeah, it's a long time. Probably longer than most of you watching this video have been alive. The Peruvians definitely got their money's worth out of this ship. When it was finally decommissioned, I think in 2018, so relatively recently, it was the last artillery or gun cruiser serving in any navy anywhere. So yeah, there's a fair bit of history behind this ship. The Peruvians always call the flagship of their navy the Almirante Grau. This was the third ship to bear the name. The ship's named after Peru's greatest naval hero, Admiral Miguel Grau Seminario. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that too badly. He was known as the Gentleman of the Seas. And he's revered not just by the Peruvian Navy, but also by his principal enemies, the Chilean Navy, for various very good reasons. For example, in 1879, at the Battle of Iquique, when he sank the Chilean corvette, the Esmeralda, he ordered that the crew be rescued from the sea, and he wrote a personal letter of condolence to the widow of the captain of the ship that he just sunk, ensuring that she received his sword and personal effects along with the letter of condolence. There was another incident when he managed to sneak up on a Chilean ship in harbour and caught it completely flat-footed. There was no way the Chilean ship was going to win that fight, and rather than just immediately blowing it out of the water, he first gave the crew the opportunity to abandon ship. So it was for these and many other reasons like this that he was revered not just by the Peruvian Navy, but also by his principal enemies, the Chilean Navy. In 1879, at the Battle of Angamos, when he was killed, he was actually hit by a naval armour-piercing shell. There wasn't a lot left, and his ship was captured. But what the Chilean Navy could manage to find of his body was buried with full military honours. And to this day, whenever the Peruvian Navy conduct a ceremonial roll call, his name is always at the top of the list, and the flagship of the Peruvian Navy always bears his name. Meanwhile, in the third ship to bear his name, Stats Bloke, he's had a fairly quiet start to this battle, although the team have managed to score first blood and knock out an enemy cruiser. First blood there from the friendly Richelieu. Stats, he's trying to play at the strengths of this ship, because, okay, he's spotted now, so there's clearly an enemy destroyer around here somewhere. Remember, the longer you stay undetected, the faster this gimmick charges up, allowing you to unload it. There goes the hydro. And he's turning as well, because if you're spotted, and yep, there's a very, very suspicious looking smoke screen over there. There it is. And it's the Akazuki. Okay, it only has the one torpedo launcher, but he's got the hydro running anyway, and he's nosed in anticipation of there being torpedoes. Of course, the Akazuki was the only one who was spotting him, and since it smoked up, he's gone undetected again. And he's just biding his time. Yep, there are the torpedoes. Oh, actually, here comes the Atago. Okay, choice of targets here. He's going for the Akazuki. There goes the immediate gun battery reload. Holy shit, look at this rate of fire. I mean, the Akazuki has a phenomenal rate of fire as well. But it can't beat that when this consumable is active. Using the remaining shots on the Atago, there's an aircraft up, spotting him from somewhere, but this is fine. Thank you for that smoke screen, Akazuki. Yeah, somebody's got a patrol fighter up that keeps catching him at the outmost arc of its patrol, but this is fine. He took some damage, but the Atago is definitely coming off worst. It was the Benson there, by the way, who finished off the Akazuki, and is now also taking advantage of the Akazuki smokescreen. And there are the Atago torpedoes. Yeah, obvious torpedoes are obvious. I mean, you didn't need the Hydro running to know that the Atago was going to be launching torpedoes, probably from both sides. I wouldn't be hanging around in that smokescreen for longer than is absolutely necessary if I was that Benson, because that's just one set of Atago torpedoes. There will be another. Of course, thanks not only to the Akazuki smokescreen and this very convenient island, Stats is again undetected. So again, the immediate gun battery reload consumable is charging up, and they've also managed to take the central cap at Bravo, as well as this one down here at Alpha, leaving just Charlie uncontested. So 2 cap circles, 2 kills, enemy team down to 180 points. We already know this is an episode of a Game of Throws, but it's my favourite kind of Game of Throws match, because it's not obvious which team is the one that's going to be doing the throwing. I mean, it looks like, with this kind of early lead, Stats' team are the one who are going to throw. But let's just say, both teams are going to be keeping us guessing right up to the end. There goes the reload consumable again. A couple of shots out at the Vanguard. Now he's switching to the Monarch. It's at extreme range though. Oh, is he going to eat? I think he's just spotted those Benson torps. Managed to set a fire though. That could be good news for the Benson if those torpedoes hit. But the Monarch is not using damage control, so even if a torpedo hits and causes a flood, he will have the damage control ready to go. Stats again playing to the advantages of this ship. I mean, he was hosing down the Monarch over there at extreme range, and that does make it less likely that you're going to score a hit, but I mean, it's a battleship, it's a fairly big target. Plus, remember, you need to go undetected regularly in this thing, and you don't do that by getting close to a battleship and unloading the guns. Keep them at extreme range. Give yourself a chance to break contact, go undetected, get this consumable charged up again. Of course, all of these islands around here certainly help. How are we looking? Team are almost 500 points ahead. If only we didn't already know that this was an episode of a Game of Throws. Consumables ready to go. It's time to inflict some pain on the Monarch. At the moment, I think the Monarch is the only one that can actually shoot at him. Thanks to his positioning amongst these islands, and there's another fire. And the Monarch doesn't even have his guns pointing this way, although that is likely to change when he sees a light cruiser over here, easily within gun range. And it is just a light cruiser. I mean, the Monarch doesn't have huge guns, they're only 15-inch. I mean, you know, only 15-inch, but they're big enough to hurt a light cruiser like the Almirante Grau. Okay, the consumable is done. Here come the shots. He's turning in. It is armor piercing. Ooh, that could have been a lot worse. A double fire now. And it is continuing to tick. The Monarch is still in shooting range, but he wants to go undetected. And while he's waiting for that to happen, disaster strikes. The Vanguard takes out the friendly Tirpitz, and the enemy Tirpitz takes out the Hawk. So the enemy team have just clawed some very useful points back there, although they're still not in possession of any of the cap circles. Meanwhile, Stats has managed to go undetected. He's reversing up to make sure he stays undetected. Also getting some hard cover between himself and the Vanguard in case he does have to start shooting. He doesn't want both the Monarch and the Vanguard to get the opportunity to shoot back. It doesn't look like he's actually going to need to shoot at the Monarch though. It looks like between them, the Benson and the Richelieu have got it. Although the Benson took a couple of hits, and oh, that's not good. The team have now just lost their Edinburgh. There's now only a 300-point difference between the two teams, and the enemy team are 1 kill up, although they're very, very likely to lose this Monarch if the Benson's torpedoes don't get him. Go on, Stats, see if you can steal the kill, because it looks like the Benson's torpedoes are not going to get him. There it goes. This rate of fire is terrifying. And there it is. There's Stats' first kill, taking out the Monarch. Notice positioning there. Nobody but the Monarch could shoot back at him, and he waited until the Monarch had started engaging the Richelieu and the Benson before he opened up. Right, they've evened the kills again. They still have a good 300-point lead, and 2 of the cap circles, but the cap circle up there at Charlie, with the destruction of the Hawk at the hands of the enemy Tirpitz, is now being flipped. Almost certainly by the enemy Tirpitz. So they really do kind of need to make the most of it while the Tirpitz is occupied up there, and see if they can knock out one of these 2 remaining enemy ships, the Vanguard and the Anago. The good news is that they're the only team that still has an active destroyer, and the Benson, while its torpedoes aren't great, it is actually theoretically capable of stealth torpedoing, which is going to be bad news for the Vanguard, and is probably why he's heading Billy Big Steps in the other direction, trying to link up with the Anago and the Tirpitz, who has finished taking that cap at Charlie and is now also heading this way. The Anago's getting punished there. There goes the reload booster. He's getting spotted here, but he's counting on being able to take the Anago out before the Tirpitz gets within range, and hoping that the Vanguard is occupied shooting at somebody else. But all 3 of these ships are really bad news if they start shooting at you and you're in a light cruiser. Okay, there's the kill on the Anago. So they're ahead again. He's still got some time left on this reload booster. Ooh, took a big old hit there from across the map. That was the Tirpitz's 15-inch gun batteries. That could have been fatal. Could still be fatal if the Vanguard gets its gun batteries turned around in time. But it isn't. He's focusing down the Richelieu, which is probably also what the Tirpitz is doing. And honestly, given the amount of health that the Richelieu has left, that's probably the wise choice. Stats, however, cannot afford to take another hit like that. Benson's getting his torpedoes away, but the problem here... Actually, no, the Vanguard has turned around. See, the Benson's torpedoes are really slow, and if a ship's sailing away from you, you're never going to get to torpedo it. But the Vanguard has now turned around. The problem here, of course, is that the Tirpitz is getting closer as well, and, well, we're all clearly within Tirpitz gun range. And the Tirpitz is a good ship. I mean, I wouldn't want to be taking the Pepsi Challenge in a light cruiser of any nation. I mean, not even a Worcester or a Minotaur against a Tirpitz. Not unless I know that Tirpitz isn't going to be turning its guns around on me. Okay, he's managed to go undetected long enough to recharge this booster. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to be sitting in open water shooting at enemy battleships, but they really do kind of need to take that Vanguard out. And then switch to the Tirpitz and get this done before they lose the Richelieu, who has taken a ferocious beating, but so is the Vanguard. Yes, they've got him. The Richelieu gets the kill. Unfortunately, he's now got the full attention of the Tirpitz. Even more unfortunately, the Benson is inside Tirpitz's secondary gun battery range. If the Richelieu had only had a little bit more health, he might have been able to go for the ram and end this match right now, but, well, he didn't. He gets torpedoed, and the Benson got sunk by the Tirpitz's secondaries. So there's a double strike for the Tirpitz. That's unfortunate. And the enemy team, I mean, they're not ahead on points. They are still more than 400 points behind, but they're ahead on caps. They now control both Bravo and Charlie, and they're probably, well, if the Tirpitz has any sense, he's going to be heading for Alpha to take all 3. And thanks to his positioning, the Tirpitz can do that. He can flip Alpha while charging full speed towards Stats' last spotted position. So we've got Stats in a very definitely not on full health and extremely fragile light cruiser against a pretty much almost on full health and tough as old boots battleship. And it's a fast battleship as well. Stats is technically in the faster ship, but it's not that much faster. He has a 1.5 knot advantage. And, I mean, that's not enough to count on. The slightest error in positioning can eat that speed advantage up and get yourself caught. The problem here is Stats kind of has to engage the Tirpitz. I mean, he doesn't stand an awful lot of chance of killing him. Oh shit, here it comes. And of course he's got the armor piercing loaded, because why wouldn't you? Stats trying to manoeuvre out of the way. Tirpitz misses. I know you're all sitting there thinking, Stats, what are you doing? Just go undetected and take the win. He cannot win on points. He's on 880 points, but as long as that Tirpitz is sitting in that cap circle, 880 points is all he's ever going to have, because that's the only cap circle that his team own, and the Tirpitz is contesting it. So he has to try... Oh shit, this is close. I mean, yeah, it's kind of suicidal, but he has no option. He has to try to delay the Tirpitz's capture progress for as long as he possibly can, because the Tirpitz is catching up on points. And he can't flip Bravo because it's too close to the Tirpitz. Look, the Tirpitz knows what he's doing. He's right at the extreme northeastern edge of that cap circle down at Alpha, giving him the maximum possible opportunity to spot Stats if he tries to take the central cap. So Stats cannot take that central cap. He can't flip it. He has to keep trying to delay the capture progress of that Tirpitz while steaming northeast as quickly as he possibly can, and maybe being able to contest the cap circle at Charlie, because it's the only one that's far enough away to give him a fighting chance against the Tirpitz. You see, he could be shooting right now and resetting the Tirpitz before it finishes capping, but the Tirpitz is waiting for him to do that and has got the guns pointing this way, so he needs to make sure he doesn't take any return fire. Unfortunately, he just kind of delayed it a couple of seconds too late. It doesn't matter if he hits the Tirpitz now. He has flipped that final cap circle, and he does hit the Tirpitz. On the bright side though, because he delayed that as long as he did, he ensured that the Tirpitz couldn't finish him off with a return salvo by using the island there as cover. Unfortunately, now he is in a bit of a pickle. Even more so than he was before, because now the Tirpitz is only 200 points behind, has all three of the caps, and with only 3.5 minutes of the battle remaining, he's going to win on points. He will easily overtake the 880 points that Stats is currently sitting on. So Stats now has to try to delay that from happening by contesting cap circle Charlie. I think he anticipated not getting spotted when he fired there. I think he thought that island was going to provide more cover than it did. But he got away with it, and he set another fire. Although with no immediate danger of high explosive follow-up, the Tirpitz has used its damage control. Which is fine. I mean, it was a double fire, and there was no way Stats was going to sit in open water getting shot at by a Tirpitz in order to try to stack more fires, so using the damage control there was absolutely the right thing to do. Stats, however, now needs to take this cap circle and then motor the hell out of there. Remember, the Tirpitz is a fast battleship. He only has a 1.5 knot speed advantage over the Tirpitz. The Tirpitz is heading this way at full speed, and he had to slow down in order to make sure he took this cap circle. There is an island there he can hide behind, though, if he can just get in there before Tirpitz comes around the corner of that big island in the northeast of the central cap at Bravo, which he will be doing any second now. There goes his spotting plane. It would not do to get detected by that thing. Right. Okay, Stats has made it into cover. Unfortunately, he now only has about 100 points to play with. And the Tirpitz is catching up, both in the sense of points and distance. And there's less than 2 minutes of the battle remaining. All the Tirpitz has to do, and there he is just keep heading towards Stats. One of two things will happen. He'll either catch Stats and kill him, because there's no way Stats is winning this gunfight, or he'll sail into the final cap circle at Charlie, stop Stats from accumulating any more points, and overtake him in the 1.5 minutes that's remaining. There is literally nothing Stats can do to prevent the Tirpitz from doing exactly that. If he starts shooting, the Tirpitz will kill him. If he doesn't start shooting, the Tirpitz will sail into the cap circle at Charlie, flip it, and win on points before the battle expires. Tirpitz is almost there. I mean, he's doing exactly what he needs to do to win. You can't really fault him. Any second now. Yep, he's in the cap circle. At this point, Stats really has nothing to lose, so you may as well try to farm a bit more damage and take this guy. I mean, you're never going to take him down, but hey, get a bit more damage done. He's already got the high caliber. Hang on a minute. Oof, okay, he took a hit. What's the Tirpitz doing? Tirpitz, why are you sailing out of the cap circle? I want you to note how many points stats is on there. 950 points when the Turpid sails out of the cap circle trying to get the kill. 950 points. He's up to 954 now, of course. 956 because the Turpid's left the cap circle. And the Turpid's nearly got him. But nearly only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades and nukes. So with stats safe and just a couple of seconds to go, let's have a look at the enemy team's points. 950. Oh dear. 956. If the Turpits had done nothing, if he just sat in the cap circle doing nothing, he would have won. Only by 6 points, but that's 5 more points than he would have needed for a win. But he just had to get that final kill. And the sad thing was, he played a blinder of a game up until that point. And then the red mist descended, and he very, very nearly did it. But saying you very, very nearly won is really just a fancy way of saying you lost. So, stats bloke, with an extremely unlikely win there in today's episode of A Game of Throws. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.